Okay, so by the way, everyone, good morning. Okay, so for this morning, so we will discuss a new topic, which we will talk about some essential C sharp features. Okay, so in this chapter, so we will describe some features used in web application development that are not widely understood. So I know that some of the features when we develop our ASP.NET web application are not emphasized. Okay, so there are also statements or parts of the previous project that has confusion. So natay laligyan dito, di ba? Okay? So ato to siyang i-discuss in this one. But dili gingon entire discussion gud hang tanan gyud to discuss. So we'll just discuss the some features nga importante kayo. Okay, and then also we will have an example project with this discussion. Okay, so in terms of the topic, so we will uh have some problems and then how we can solve those problems. Like for example, if we have duplication of using statements, so how can we solve that? So we can use what we call the global or implicit using statements. Okay, so how can we perform those solutions here in this example project? Okay, and other problems that we need to uh, solve. Okay, so again, when we create our project, so we open our terminal. Okay. So first things first, so we need to create the project. So use .NET, okay, command, new, first we will have the global JSON file, okay. Then what will be the version, SDK version, used in this project, for example, 8.0.101. Okay, so in this case, then we have our output project name. Then tawgon lang nako ni siya og language features. Okay, so now the global JSON file is successfully created. So next is we have the creation of sa to ang uh, framework nga itong gamiton. So again, so .NET, so new. So here we will not creating a MVC framework. Okay, so instead here we will create a web application. So we use web command. So dash dash no HTTPS same gapon, and then dash dash output. Okay, so the project, so features, and then your framework. So framework, okay, so net 8.0. Oops, sorry. So no spaces. Okay, so now it is created. Okay, so next thing is the solution file. So .NET new solution file SNN, then dash O, then ato ang project. Okay, then lastly, ato ang solution file. So we sync the solution file to the project folder. So .NET, okay. So na, paano na po? Wait for a while. Okay. I thought I not record the discussion. So .NET, SLN, language, features, add language features. Okay. So now it is synced together. Okay. So once we sync those Coanato project, so we can open now in our Visual Studio. So just wait here. So as you can see in this project, guys, so when we open the solution explorer of this project, okay, so you can see here that this project has minimal configuration. Okay, so you have here the properties. We have here the app settings JSON, globals JSON, program CS files here, but we don't have yet any configuration here. It only has the minimal configuration. Okay. So how can we enable the or enabling the MVC framework in this project? Okay. So as we create previously in our project, for example, so we type the command MVC to the second command or command line. Okay. So to create the MVC framework. So in this project, so we only use the web command. It means that it only creates the minimal features of the ASP.NET project. Okay? So we will make it step by step to how we configure the MVC framework to this project. Okay? So first things first, so we need to enable the MVC framework in our program CS file. Okay, so we will open this program CS file. So we add some statements here. Okay, so first is we'll add the controller with views in this project. So in order to do that, so we need to use the builder that services that add control or add controller with views. Okay. So this particular statement, so it means that it binds you the controller with the views or the MVC framework to this project. Okay. So by adding this statement. Okay. And then here we will just comment this because we don't need this hello world statement. But instead, I will add another statement here. Okay, app dot map default controller route. Okay, statement. So here, in this statement, so it provides us the basic MVC framework setup. Okay, by having this map default controller route. So it adds the endpoints for the controller actions and adds the default route. Okay, in this example project. Okay. Okay. So next is we'll now create our MVC framework to this project. Okay. So once we have added these two statements in our program CS, so it is now become an MVC project. Okay, MVC based framework project. So we will generate a new folder to this project. So I will click here, add, and then new folder. So I will name this since we create or will develop an MVC framework project to this project. So we need to add the three folders, okay, to this project. So we have the models, the views, and the controllers. Okay. So first we'll add the model. So sorry, models folder. And then second here, so we'll add a new folder, which is the controllers. And then third here, So we will add the views. Okay. So here in this example project, so we make it manual. So instead of automatically create the MVC framework to this project, so we make it manually here. Okay. So next thing we do is how can we create the data model. So in order to, again, create the data model, so we go to our models folder, we will add a new item. Okay. So since this item is a class, so we need to click or use the class nga addition. So pangalan na nako ni siya og product. Okay. So in this product here, so we'll add some statements. So first, we'll add the states in this product model. So, okay, so public string, for example, the name of the product. So at the same time, we create the setter and getter of the state. At the same time, so public decimal. So we will add a question mark to add this particular state a validation. Okay. So I will name this price, then also the getter and setter. Okay. And then next is we'll add or I will create a method that will store those products or this particular product. So for example, so I will create lang static method. Pangalan ako o product. Okay. So get products method. So inside of this get products, so we need a return to this because we have a product as a return type. Okay. So for example, I will create a product here, product object. So tawag ko na ko kayak equals to new product. So inside of this new product, so the name of the product, so equals to, for example, name is kayak. Okay, then next is the price. So for example, price of that is we say 100. Okay. Next is we'll create a new object, product object. We name this life jacket equals to new product. So inside of this is name equivalent to, for example, life jacket. And then the price of the life jacket, we say equivalent to, ay no na to, 1 lang. We change the kayak price. We say 1,000 M. Okay, and then this one is we say 799 M. And then lastly, so we return this product. So new product of kayak and life jacket. And also third is we have null. Okay. So as you can see guys, there is a to ang example. Okay. Sakto ba kung ibutang? O skip. Okay, yun na yung error. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Buwang og curly brace. Okay? So as you can see, guys, in this products model nato, so we define here name and property or price properties. Okay. And then here we have a static method called get products that returns the product array. Okay. So one of the elements contained in the array returned by the get product is set to null. Okay. So therefore in this model, so we have three um, datas or elements here. So we have the kayak, the life jacket, and nothing. Okay? So, um, how can this particular null, okay? So, kung sa may metabo sir, kung butangan na tog null dere sa to ang model. Is it okay ra ba to put null statement or null keyword sa to ang product array? Okay? So, we'll find out later kung okay ra ba na siya nga naay ingon ana. Okay? So, but before we go to the discussion for this one, so first is we will have the controller. Okay? So we'll add a controller. So MVC controller empty. And then we name this home controller CS. Okay? So inside in this home controller, so we will just return a view with a new string. So new string of array. For example, we will return some statements. Okay. So here in this particular home controller CS here, okay? So we make the index action, okay? Which rendering the default view, okay? So in our default view, so we have this string, array of strings, na to, okay? So which this array of strings will be included to our HTML, which these strings will be sent to our HTML view. Okay? So we will create our view also in order to us to view this data. So we go to our views folder, and then here we will add another folder. Okay? I will say this is a home folder. Okay? And then here we will add the um, index CSHTML here in our folder. So I will add here a new item, and then in this item, so I will add a razor view or razor page. So we'll add lang a razor page empty. So we call this index.cshtml. Okay. So inside of this CSHTML, so we'll create the view. Okay. So before that, we'll delete the page na paano to, we'll uh, have the model. So I will say enumerable, okay, with string contents. Since in our view we have array of strings, so therefore we need to return here the model with the string data. Okay, and then here we add our layout, which is equivalent to null, since we will create our view or layout here in the index CSHTML itself. Okay, so here we will create the layout. So doc type HTML. Okay, so we will just HTML. Then in our HTML, so we'll delete this because we don't need that. Okay, then we have our head. Metadata. Okay, so first the name. So we have the viewport and content. Because we have the width equals to, okay, device width. And then for example, title na to, tawagan sana to language features. And then here in our body, so we'll display the strings. Okay. So for this one, so I will use an ordered list to display those array of data. Okay. So we have for each uh, string. So string as or in model. So we'll display those items in our list item. So we have at the S or the string. Okay. And then here, next thing is we'll now configure the port. Okay. So asa gito na to i-configure tong port. So nasa properties, launch JSON or JSON or launch settings.json file. So we change here lang sa to ang port number. So instead of 5148, for example, we'll use again 5000 as our port number. Okay? So same with the profiles and also here in our IIS settings. So we'll change also this to 5000. Okay? So when we execute this project, oops, there's an error. Okay, so there's some errors. So we'll check first. There's that error. Okay, so I'm using 1.101. So here, I've used 201 rather. 201 zero conversion. Okay. Again, I will first my version. I forgot. So, .NET, okay, version. Oops. .NET version. So 8.200 rather. Okay. Save this. So again, when we change our versions, guys, so it must be same sa to ang SDK version we use. Okay? Kung sayop galing yung SDK version, so mato siya yung mga may tabo. So mo error siya due to the incompatibility sa yung version. Okay? So as you can see here, so we already listed the data sa to ang katong gikan sa to ang controller. Okay? So gikan ani, so it is listed in our index.cshtml by calling those string array elements. Okay? So in order to call that, so we use for each loop here. Okay? And then we implement that with our list item. Okay? So it will display those strings. Okay? Nakuha? Okay. So as you can see guys, there is ato ang project. Okay? So as we open our program CS file already here, so in this program CS file, so again, this is we can di ba mao man ni siyang permiro nato nga once we execute the project, this is the first thing nga i-process dire sa atong program CS file. Okay? So we can also put here some top level statements nato. Okay? So in this example, so we um comment the default nga statement which displays hello world statement here by changing it to the MVC nga route, okay, MVC view, okay? And then here we add that in our project, so we display or we create this project applying the MVC framework by adding this add controls with views method. Okay? So you can also put something here, especially when we go further against sa mga projects. So we can integrate further to the program CS file. So we can incorporate here with our middlewares, for example, with our generic declarations. So diri na nato siya ibutang sa tuang program CS file. O daghan pa tag pwede ibutang diri, especially kung natay mga dependency nga required to the project. So this is where the location to be reside to those mentioned terms. Okay? Okay? Okay, next. So next thing is using the global statements. Okay? So when we use, for example, our global statements here, especially when we call a particular model, okay, for especially for our controllers to integrate the data from the model, so we can use the global statements. So in order to us using the global statements, so we will use the keyword using, okay. So kung sa kuan pa na nato sa ubang language like Java mo gamit tag import, di ba? So we import this package to that package or to that class in order to us to access inside of that package. So in C sharp, so in order to us to use those features in our project, so we use using keyword. For example, I will add here the models. Okay? So it means here, when we use the this using keyword with language features models, so you are syncing the model container to your home controller CS file. Okay? So now, since you already apply or you add a global feature to this controller. Okay? So, pwede na siya nimo magamit ang nasa imong models container or models folder. Okay? So, here, we will change the results here. So, from I action result, I will use W results. Okay, for this. And then here in our return, so we will change the return view. Okay. So for example, I will add here the product equals to products or product that get products method and return view of new string. So for example, here we will retrieve the products. Okay. So for example, we have like that sa to ang statement. Okay? So when we execute this, 'di ba? Last time is mo niya itong execute. So what will happen if we execute that controller? And then here in our model, so as you can see, we have a null value. Okay, so what will happen? So as you can see here, so we have the display data, which is the kayak. Okay, so since in our example here, in our home controller, so we use 0, so therefore the first index that is stored in our model, which is the kayak. So therefore, the kayak name is displayed sa toang sa tong page. Okay? So if for example, if I will say 1, so kinsa man to expected nga output ani? Si left jacket, di ba? So left jacket ang mugawas ng dapita. Okay? So what if kung 2? What will happen? Hmm? So na by display, so it returns an error here. Okay? So it says that you handled a null reference exception. So object instance not set to an instance of an object. Okay? So in our home controller index, so we call a null value. Okay? So therefore, we cannot call a null statement diri sa to ang product. Okay? So natay, sir, can we, for example, we have a null value. Can we fix that na it will not return an error even there's a null value? Okay? Pwede ba, possible ba sir nga kuan mi, maka-return mi data even there's a null value sa mo ang for example sa mo ang array, okay, sa mong element, pwede ba na nato siya magkuanan? The answer is pwede. Okay, so we can use what we call a null state analysis. Okay, so when we say null statement analysis, so the compiler identifies here, okay, as you can see sa to product model. So there's kuan diri nga warning nga ningon siya na cannot converted null literal to non-nullable reference type. Okay? So the null state analysis here, okay, identifies the attempts to access the reference that may be unintentionally null. Okay? So preventing null reference exceptions at runtime. So si Visual Studio mo kuan mo ana mo determine okay, so possible dili ni siya pwede na to gamiton kay null man ka. So si Visual Studio nimo mo suggest nga you cannot use null. Okay, kay when we execute it during our runtime, as you can see here, so it returns as an error. Okay? So when null state analysis is enabled, so C# variables are divided into two groups. Okay? So we have the nullable and we have the non-nullable. Okay? So from the term itself, okay, nullable variable, so it means that you assign value null. Okay, nullable man, di ba? So nag-assign ka diha og value sa imong variable nga null. Okay? So, this is the behavior that most programmers are familiar, di ba? Mao gyud nato gamiton mostly. Kung watay anything nga ibutang sa tuang variable, for example, mo tawag ta, mag-declare tag variable, okay? So, blank ra na siya atong ibutang, di ba? Okay? So, it means kung blank ra gay na ang atong variable declaration, so default value of that is null. Okay? So, but if we call that a variable, for instance, and then you don't do anything, and then you call that variable, okay, so it will return as the null reference exception, this one, okay? So mao na siya may tabo kung wala tay anything buhaton sa kanang a variable. And then ato siyang gitawag nga walay content or walay data. Okay? So by contrast, if we say non-nullable variables in the other hand, it means that it cannot never be null. Okay? Non-null man, di ba? So nagyud siya data, nagyud siya content ana nga variable. So when you receive a nullable variable, so you don't have to guard against a null value because that is not a value that can be never be assigned. So from terms of non-null, so dili gyud siya mo return of null. Okay? Kay gyud siya content as always. Okay? So unsa man na siya sir para for example, we have a data nga we want to make it nullable. Okay? So, in order to us to make it nullable, so one thing we can do is to use question mark. Okay? The question mark character. So, here, it is appended to the data or to the data type, which denotes that particular value or that particular variable is a nullable variable. Okay? So, kung for example, kung butangan na to ang string o question mark, dinha. So, it means here, that is a nullable variable. Okay? So, not it is only for data validation, but also we can use the question mark to determine that this variable is a nullable variable. Okay? So, mao na siya usa sa gamit sa question mark symbol sa tuang variable. Okay? So, here if kung for example, na kay question mark again, natay or this is a nullable. Pero kung wala na siya question mark, it means that this is not a nullable nga variable. So, non-nullable siya. So kinahanglan naa siya value kung butanga or dili na to siya butangan og question mark. Okay? So ato'y try kung butangan to question mark, what will happen? Okay? So nagkuha na no, ni-build na. Build ang project. So as you can see guys, still null reference exception gapon siya. Okay? Kay because wala pa man nato gi-ensure nga kini siya nga data is a null value gyud. Di ba? It only determines this question mark nga kini siya nullable variable. But wala tayo mo state nga this is a null value or this name here is a null value. Okay? So once we have a question mark here, so the compiler examines the code of the project and warns you to find statement that might break the rules of declaring null variable or null data. Okay? So the most common issues are attempting to assign null to non-nullable variables and attempting to access members defined by nullable variables without checking to see if they are null. Okay? So note lang, when we use null state analysis, is we need to get to grips with nullable and non-nullable data types. Okay? So when we determine which variables are nullable and non-nullable, so we need to finally analyze those variables ng kinsa tong state na variables sa kini siyang variable is nullable ni siya or kini siyang variables are nullable non-nullable variables ni sila. Okay, kay it becomes frustrating to us, especially when we go further nga daghan na tag variable declarations sa ato ang project. So frustrating kay mablibog man ka asa man ni nga nag-cause of nullable or null reference exception. Okay? Kay especially when you have multiple variables declared na nullable or non-nullable, nya pag-execute nimo sa project, nigawas na siya nga exception, mabaw kag pangita. Okay? So kini okay ra kay pila ra man nato ang variable gi-declare ra ka buok, ba? So what if imong model daghan kay kag model din ha, di lang kay usa ka model ang imuhang project. Kay moabot ba ron og tag duha, tag tulo, tag upat ka model or more than one model ang imong define sa imong project. And then mogawas na siya nga exception. Okay? Mayroon ta nga na inani makita na tong error, di ba? But what if ini execute mo ini runtime na 1A nang gawas na tanan. Okay? Wala ka kabaw asa na ka mag-trace in the first place. Okay? So mo na naka-frustration. Okay? Sa kung ari ta sa C#. Okay? Kay mabaw man ka og pangita gyud. So dapat sa design pa lang nimo sa imong project design. So nagkuan na ka, nag-define na ka sa tanang states or variables nimo nga i-define nimo nga nullable or non-nullable. Okay? Kita? Okay. So, walay question. So, here, in we can use a nullable sa tuang data. So, we can, instead of using a nullable instance, so we can say that this variable here, for example, string dot empty. Okay? So, it means here that if we define the assigned value, so that data default is an empty string. Okay? So when we execute it, for example, okay, so still it will return as a nullable exception, but we know already that in default we have a name nga empty. Okay? So that's the first thing we can do. So for example, you will assign that variable na to have an empty string data. Okay? So pwede na siya na to i-perform sa kana nga particular nga kuha na to. Okay? Particular variable. Okay? So as you can see here, a nullable variable name must contain a non-null value when exiting the constructor. Okay? So consider declaring the property as nullable. So mo na siya to ang pwede i-perform. Okay? So another we can do to this example is pwede ta mobutang dire o keyword sa kining variable nga require. Okay? So this required here, so it means that you will have a requirement nga dapat diri dapita sa imong name required gyud ang data. Okay? So kung ato siyang i-kuan, execute, so ato sa ning i-stop ha, kadiyot. Kay daghan na kayo nag-run. So ato siya ni sa stop. Execute na tong project. So still naagihapon siya, but at least here sa ato ang name, so nanatay requirement nga dapat nani siya content. Okay? So it means this is a now a non-nullable variable. Okay? So how can we provide a default value sa to ang non-nullable types? Okay? So in order to us to provide a default value, so for example, there is a tong controller. So we can do sa tong controller is we will add a question mark sa kana nga product. Okay? So it means here that when we question mark or when we apply question marks here, so that data created, okay, from that model is defined as a nullable or non-nullable type. Okay? So same here sa to apong return. So since we add a question mark man sa to ang method, or sa atong get products method, sa atong return type, so mag-add sa tali og question mark. Okay? So kung ato siyang execute, okay? So still nagapon tay error. So same gapon, nullable reference exception gapon siya, but now we are now fixing some issues sa ato ang code. Okay? So nakuha na nato ni siya. Nainaynayan na nato og fix out. Okay? So here, we will remove the required lang. Okay, I will make this string empty. Okay? So kung sama na to pag answer, pag for example, mag-select ta og saktong nullable type sa tong data. So nabay mga implementation sir para maka implement tag mga nullable type sa ato ang states or sa tong variables. So natay mga distinguished nga declaration for nullable types. Okay? So it depends on what nullable type that you want to perform in your project. Okay? So for example, there is ato ang kini dire, di ba? So i-added this question mark. So kini siya, okay ni siya. Okay? This data. So for example, if your arrays or you are dealing with collections and arrays, okay, in your model, so this is how we can perform. Okay, so we apply here the question mark, okay, sa to ang return type, sa to ang sa kini nga method. Okay? So pwede na ingon ana atong perform. So kung kuan pod, for example, like this, ito na papasa na. Kung dili po ka nagbutag question mark, okay? So this na siya pwede. Kung di ka magbutag question mark. Okay? Because here, when you declared an array, it cannot hold product values. So therefore, it needs to be in the product array. So bawal di siya yung ani. Okay? Na mag-apply ka question mark diha sa imong array itself. Bawal na siya, di na siya pwede. Okay? Pero, kung for example lang, ito sa kanan ha. For example lang, na kay tawag na itong array 2 whilst null. Okay? And then you declared like that. Okay ra siya. Okay? So, kung all of the datas you have in your array are null, okay, or null ang imong array itself, so you can declare like that sa imong nullable nga variable. Okay? So, okay ra na siya ang ingon ana, sir. Yes, okay ra na siya. Okay? So, pwede ra sa ning ina ni sir. Okay? So, pwede ra sa ning ingon ani sir nga kuan pag define na to sa to ang data. So, for example guys, if you call like this, ingon ani nga declaration, so the answer is okay ra sa ni siyang ingon ani. Okay? So ni-error lang siya behind the pita kay siya kaila sa context yon. So pero when we declare like this sa to ang product data, so tawag na to array mo. Okay? So pwede ra sana siya. Ngayon ani na to pag-declare. Okay? Sa to ang lalabo. So kung mag-declare tag ingon ani nga question mark do kabuok sa to ang product o sa tong array. So it means that in this product array, so it can contain the product, okay, nga product itself or the null values, okay, that can itself becomes null. So pwede sana siya nga atong product is null, the same time ato pong array kay null. Okay? So, pwede na nato i-perform like that. Okay? So, kung saan na siya i-comment. Kaya wala na siya gamit. Wala na siya ilapot. So, here, okay, when we check our product, so, ako lang sa ko ang question mark ha. Okay? So, for example, sir, how can we resolve nga mag-check ta sa tong null values dito sa to ang view? So, pwede na to buhaton. Okay, so sa to mong controller, so we can put question mark dire. Okay? Diha para ma-check na to. For example, kung naabatay kuan din ha, natay null. Okay? So, as you can see here, when we put question mark sa tong product, okay? Dire. So, naay ni suggest nga, oy, so sa imong products, so pag-analyze niya nga naa kay null. So, products is not null here. Okay? So, kana zero. So, kung 1 ko, so again, it analyze that product is not null here. Okay? So, pag 2 na ko, okay? So, product is not null here. Okay? So, mo na siya iyang analysis. Okay? Nakuha? Okay pa ta, guys? Okay, so ada lang sa nina kong balik o question mark para kini siya nga method. So, isa null method. Okay? So, natay checker for nullable type na to. Okay? So now here, we will change sa to ang index file na to. Okay? So in order to us to return, okay, or know the return sa to ang product. Okay? So at least, ma-check na to tong value kung naa ba siya null or ma-flag out na to kung nabay null value ang ato ang data nga gipass or ato ang array nga ipass. Okay? So, for example here, we will change sa to ang code. Okay, I will just comment this lang. So, in order to perform that, so first is we need to call the product, question mark, okay, array. So, tawagan ako products equals to product that get products. Okay? And then here we will have a string, tawagan ako val equals or val lang. And then here, so we will perform a check if, okay? So if what? So products is not equals to null, then we can say that val, okay, equals to products that name. Okay? So products. So also, by the way, I forgot. So we'll, for example, have a products lang. So products. So for example, I have a product lang. Tawagan na kong P. Okay? So product question mark P equals to products, okay, of 0. So example lang sa index 0. Okay? And then here, P dot name. Okay? Else, so we have our val will be equals to, for example, no value. Okay? And then here we can return our view with new string of val. Okay? So, unsa may pasabot ani diring dapita sir sa imong gi-perform? Okay? So here, as you can see, there is a tong demonstration. So we use a condition if here. So it means that uh, we check the value sa tong product if the product is null or not. Okay? So if that product data is null, then it will return as a no value. Okay? Then else, kung dili siya null, then it will return the name of that product. Okay? So if we try to execute this, so we'll close first that para ma-execute. So as you can see, so na ang kayak. Okay? So kung i-change na ko ang product, for example, 1, okay? So as ito is stop kay para ma-execute. So kung 1 din ha, okay? Dagan ba? So wait for a while, i-close na to ha. Rebuild na to. Listen warning. Okay. So here, so execute yapon siya, di ba? So bisag change pa tarig value 1, 0. So still it executes sa to ang product. Okay? So mo na siya diri sa to ang controller. Nakuha? So, pwede sa ta, instead of having like this nga execution to check if there's a null value sa to ang array, sa to ang products model, okay, instead of maghimo tag ingon ani, pwede sa ta mo apply sa gitawag na to null conditional operator. Okay? So, saan na nato pag-apply sir ang null operation na or null conditional operator. Okay? So, it will be like this guys if we use that, okay, operator. So, instead of calling like this, ako lang sa ni siya comment. Okay? So, pwede na to siya. So, retain lang ni siya kining products na to. Okay? So, pwede tamo ingon ani. So, string, okay? Question mark, val will be equals to products, okay, of 0 question mark that name. Okay, and then here we have our condition. If val is not equals to null, okay, and then we can execute return view with the new string, okay, of val. Okay, and then here we have our return view of new string no value. Okay? So we can do also like this sa to ang execution. Okay? So this one here, this statement again, so it uses what we call a null conditional operator. So asa man nag-concern null conditional operator? So kini siyang question marks na to. Okay? So the null conditional operator is when we use question mark applied before sa to ang member. Okay? So that's how we check if the variable or that value sa to ang array is a null value or not. Okay? So by using the null condition operator and a question mark yapon. Okay? So the operator returns null if it is applied to a variable that is null. Okay, so in this case, so if the element at index 0 of the products array is null, then the operator will return null and prevent an attempt to access the name property, which would cause an exception. Okay, so if products of index 0 isn't null, then the operator returns nothing. And the expression returns the value assigned to the name property. Okay? So applying this null conditional operator, so it can return null and it is result always be assigned to a nullable variable such as a string here as we use in this example. Okay? So again, when we execute the project, okay? So wait lang na nato kay na siya. So pa-build. Oops. Ano build? So in this case, ato sa close lang kaya para mag-execute ta. So na tayo return dere. Okay nga kaya. Okay? So sa ni mga kuan. Dali sa debugging na na. Okay? So kung i-change na ko, for example, 1, so unsa may mo display ato kung 1, di ba? Left jacket ang mo display. Kay dili man null si life jacket. Okay? Uy, nganong check sana ko guys, nganong ni return error. Okay, na lock out ang itong project. Okay? So need to execute. Ako lang say close ni. Okay. Kung sa cost. Na nasubraan ba? Sobra. Sobrang execution. Okay, so again, if we execute the project, so nasubraan o execute, so clean build lang sa ko. Clean sa na akong solution or ang build control. Build sa nako. So another warning na po, di gawas. Okay. So dapat magawas na ang kuano ang kuan bat nahitabo diri kay ni error tungod sa to ang build project. So it is used by another process. Asam siya gigamit? May bong na sa taas sa gigamit ang process. No, bisag wa siya gigamitan. Why ni gamit niya? Okay, so return siya error. So sige na lang, ana na lang. Okay? So it's not run. Okay. So mo to siya guys, o mo ni siya guys when we use the null conditional operator. So again, we use question mark para na niya. Okay? So nasa tayo another feature para po mas clean ato ang code. Okay? So instead of having like this implementation, we can do also like this. Okay? So para one line ra ang atong kuan kanang pag-check if there's a null sa to ang array for example. So we can use like this nga implementation. So return view So new string. So products of 0. Okay. So question mark, that name. Okay. Question mark, double question mark. So no value. Okay? So pwede ta mo gamit og ingon ani nga implementation. So kini pod siya, kini siyang when we use like this, for example, so we're using here what we call the null coalescing operator. Okay? So non-coalescing operator, so it means that we are using double question marks. Okay? So this non-coalescing operator, which we use double question marks here, so it is used to provide a fallback value. Often it is used in conjunction with null conditional operator. Okay, so as you can see, it's like a ternary operator, di ba? When we use an if condition, so we can have a ternary operator. So it's like that ang ato ang gi-perform there is a non-coalescing operator. Okay? So here it returns as a callback if the condition not suffice na dili siya null, then it will return the name. But if there is a null value sa tong array, in this case, so it will return as no value. Okay? So that's how we perform here sa kining example. Okay? So ganun ni. Naam ni sa ano. Okay, gawas ni siya sa inyong string nga. So wala na siya sa sulod kaysa gawas na. Okay? Kasi mag-label ko ang atong ni error ko. So nasod na to sa atong bracket. Okay? Nakuha? Okay pa ta? Nakuha pa? Okay. So next. So how can we override our null state analysis? So in this case, diba, we are using null state analysis here. So, sir, can we override the null state analysis sa tong project? So, yes, pwede. Okay? So, as you can see here in our example, okay, it doesn't give us always right nga kato siyang kato nga data nga atong gi-analyze is a null data, di ba? As we check earlier nga for example 0, so not kuan siya, not null. Pag kuan na to sa 1, not null siya, di ba? But pag check na to sa 2, ni determine siya gapon nga not null, di ba? So therefore, atong compiler dere dili gyud always correct nga moingon siya, uy, dili na siya null ha. Pero pag declare ba nimo sa imong model, null ba to dito ang second array na to element, di ba? Or index 2 sa katong atong array element sa model. So therefore, it doesn't give us the correct nga analysis nga it tells nga kini dili gyud siya null. Okay? Pero pag declare na to dito sa tuang model, null ba to dito? Null ba ni dire, di ba? Null ba na diha. So wala gingon nga perfect ang iyang kuan pag-compile na to nga not null na siya nervita. Okay? So para ma-override po nato siya, so pwede ta mo gamit gitawag nga null forgiving operator. Okay? So unsa man nato paggamit ang null forgiving operator? So for that, in order to apply the null forgiving operator, so pwede ta moingon og ingon ani. So ato sa comment. So return view. So new string. So products of 0 index. Okay? Exclamation point. Okay? That name. Okay? So kini siya guys. Exclamation here. So this is the null forgiving operator. Okay? So it is used here, okay, to tell the compiler that this particular products of zero nga data isn't null. Okay? So although the null state analysis has identified it dili gyud na siya dili gyud na siya null, di ba? As we already defined nga kini diring index of zero dili gyud na siya null. Okay? So when we use the operator, the null forgiving operator, okay, so it telling the compiler that you have better insight into whether a variable can be null, and naturally it should done only when the entire confident if you are right. Nga dili gyud na siya null. Okay? So mogamit lang ta ani kung kuan gyud nato determined gyud nato nga kana siya nga data nga gipass dire dili gyud na siya null tanan. Okay? So assume nato or we assume that all data we pass in this array nato sa gikan sa tong model are not null. So mogamit ta aning null forgiving operator. Okay? So that's how we override the null analysis. Okay? Nato. Nakuha? Okay. So also guys, we can also implement another thing para for example our null analysis is kuan po nato i-disregard nato siya. So nasa tay another thing to perform para po ma-disable ato ang null state analysis warnings sa tong project. Okay? So, in order to disable the null state analysis sa tong project or mga warnings nato sa null state analysis sa tong project, so pwede na nato siya i-add diri sa to ang CS file. Okay? So, mag-add ko diri sa disable sa tong warning. So, mingon ko diri at so sama to ibutang diri. So, hashtag, okay, pragma, and then warning disable. So CS 8602. Okay? So unsay pasabot ana sir? Kanang CS 8602. So pasabot ana, it is a code na meaning it difference of a possible null reference. Okay? So when you use this here sa imong index CSHTML, so here it gives you the directive na this particular index HTML file will disable the null state analysis. Okay? So to perform that again, so we need to call this directive here in our index CSHTML file. Okay? Nakuha? So note lang, when we use this, so .NET includes a set of advanced attributes that can be used to provide the compiler with guidance for null state analysis. So here in this example we perform, this is not widely used. Okay? Kini siya. Dili kini nato gamit. Okay? As you can see in our previous projects nato, we don't put this, di ba? We don't disable the null state analysis. Okay, so we let the compiler check if that particular data we used in our models are really null nga values or not. Okay, so therefore we just let the compiler check the controllers or the models if our data we use are really not null state or not nullables. Okay? Or nullable ba siya or not nullables. Okay? Nakuha? Kay pata? Okay. So next. Okay. So another feature for C Sharp guys, in order to us to uh, implement some functionalities, okay, is what we call the string interpolation. Okay? So ano siya yung string interpolation? So interpolation, so it creates formatted strings, which we use templates with variable names that are resolved in the inserted into the output. Okay, so therefore, when we use this string interpolation, so we can add something sa tong output. So instead only having this output, so we can add another data to that particular output. So it makes the data appending, or we like a concatenation. So we concatenate or we add detail, so example sa tong output, so we concatenate a data to output this data or addition data. Okay? Sa atong output. Okay? So, unsa na to pag-apply ang string interpolation. Okay? So, for example, if we use string interpolation, so we can perform like this. Okay? So, kinila to ang gamiton, kining usa. So, para sa ni comment, so return ang view of new string. Okay? So here we will add the return. So by adding a string interpolation, for example, so use dollar sign. Okay? Name, name, ayon, price. Sakto ba? Okay. Adara. Kuwang ko usa. Kay wala to ma-content tanan. Adere po sa products, no? Okay. Forgot? Kana. Okay? So this is how we can interpret strings sa C sharp. Okay? So when we execute this, nasaan yung mga errors? So ito sa build, exact ni rebuild. Rebuild. So ang gawas ni mga warnings. Mhm. So we just clean lang sa to ang data. So nitang tangon ha ang kini ang analysis. So how many ay? Ano man ni siya? Okay. Hmm. So we just close lang sa tanan para ma-clean na to ang okay, so we'll again re-execute the project. Check na to kung napabato siyang conflict output na. So nato gamit tabo guys, for example, so dapat mag-restart sa tong system para ma-check na to or ma-delete ito nga process. Especially kung kapilatan ni execute sa to ang project. So sometimes the resource is will be used by another process. So mo to ni tabo ganiha. So now it is applied. So we are here the string interpolation. Okay? So we have here the kayak and then the price is 1,000. Okay? Nakuha? So next thing is another feature for C sharp. Okay, we can use what we call object and collection initializers. Okay, so how to use those object and collection initializers? Okay, so as you can see here in our products model example, okay, so we specify this product, okay, by having its kini siya na nag-create ta og kaugalingon nga object. Okay? So in this example, so we generate here the product which having the data of this and for example, kayak equals to new product of the name of that object which is kayak and then the price of that is we have 1,000 M. Okay? So this is the first way to initialize the object. Okay? So we have also another feature or another way to initialize our objects in C sharp. So instead of like this, initialization for the product is you can also do like this implementation. So product. So for example, football. Okay? So equals to new product. And then for example, football, that name will be equals to, for example, football. And then that price, for example, say 249.55 M. Okay? So we do like that also. Okay? So initializing our objects. So mostly we use like this, di ba? So another is we have like this implementation. Okay? Nakuha? Okay pa ta? So for example, if we want to, for example lang, display the data as we do in our index, again, so we use like this, di ba? To display the data na to. Okay? So sa to ang um kuha na to, sa to ang data. Okay? Also, in C sharp, we can use what we call an index initializer. Okay? Or we call this indexer. Okay, in short. So how can we implement indexer sa to ang sa C sharp? Okay? So to apply indexer, for example, lang, so I will just comment this lang usa ning mga statements na to dire to apply indexer. Okay siya. So we can use a dictionary, okay? So with a string and a product, okay? So products equals to new string, okay? Of string product, okay? So instead of this product, so we have, for example, new products. Okay? So pwede din siya guys, here, when we use index initializer or the indexer, so we can do like this kind of implementation. Okay? So in this case here, the syntax initializing this type of collection here. So as you can see here, it relies with these characters, diba? So we have, for example, the kayak here and the life jacket with the product. Okay? So, mo ni siya to ang index initializers or the indexer. So, in this case here, sa tong indexer, so it is using what we call an object initializer. Kaya nag-create matag new object sa kining product. Okay? Dictionary product na to. Okay? So, pwede sa naa sa tay another implementation for that manner. So, instead of like this, nga we are reliant to the object initializers. Okay? So, we can use the collections for having the objects na to. Okay? So, saan na to, sir, pag define. So, kini siya guys kay object initializers ni siya using or indexing using object initializer. So we can again also use the collections to perform the or collections for our indexing. Okay? Or for the indexer. So saying upon, so dictionary, for example, string products. Products new string product product. Okay, so instead of relying on curly brace, so again, we can use a collection. Okay, so kayak. So applying collection, so we are using brackets. So equals to new product name will be equals to kayak and then comma price equals to 1000 M. Okay. And then another jacket the product name. Okay. So we can also use this implementation. Okay. So this one is using object initializer. This one here using the collections. Okay. So again, we can apply indexer to this example by applying an object initializer. So you will initialize it by using curly brace to initialize an object or by applying a collection. So using bracket to create the new object. So you will collect those data inside and you store it in the dictionary variable na to. And then we view the data using the keys. Okay, so product.keys. So getting the collection containing the keys in the dictionary. So mao na siya to ang perform dire. Okay, so if we execute this, okay, we'll execute mo. Sorry, string to decimal. Okay. Kasi kung ano din no, decimal. O nga naman kuhan man na diya, dapita. Okay. Sorry for the wrong data. So, man siya karon. Okay? So, let's jacket of si kaya. Nakuha? So, kini siya guys dere sa tong implement kini siya. So, we are using here what we call target type new expressions. Okay? Kining gigamit na to nga dictionary. Okay? So, here applying dictionary, so we are collecting the data, okay? And also here creating a new instance of the object. Okay, so we use here the dictionary class to create the collection of all objects or object we have in the product model na to. Okay? Nakuha? Okay ta guys? Okay pa ta? Okay pa sir. Okay pa. So another feature for C Sharp guys, when we implement some kung ano to, functionalities, is we can use what we call a pattern matching. Okay? So, saan siya pinaka-importante? Kining gitawag na to pattern matching. So, from there's a pattern matching, so it is used to test that an object is a specific type or has the specific characteristic. Okay? So, here, in pattern matching, so it simply creates complex blocks of conditional statements. Okay? So, kuan ra kanang daghang kag gipamutang ba, daghang kag addition conditions before ka mo pa-output sa tuang data. Okay? So, for example, dere before, 'di ba? Hinisiya. So, we use here sa to ang condition. Nga, check na to if there will be null value sa atong data, okay? Then, it will return the name of the object, okay? Else, for example, if there will be null data sa atong array, in this case, so then it will return as no value. So that example here is the pattern matching. So we check the pattern sa tuang objects if something will apply, or for example a condition na checking if null ba ni siya nga ayahang object data null ba, then it will return this error. Then, if not null, then it will return the name from the array or from the element of your array. Okay? Or from your object itself, data, or the object's data. Okay? So, di lang kay using condition statements for pattern matching. So, pwede po nato siya ma-apply, or pwede sa ta maka-apply pattern matching using switch statements. Okay? So, for switch statement, so for example, you want to determine the data, okay? So dapat sa imuhang data nga i-check if the data, kung switch statement, di ba? Ang switch naman siya ay control kung saan lang nga mga data types ang yang ikuha nimo sa imong switch control. Okay? Kato imong parenthesis pa. So careful sa ka kung mogamit sa kay switch statement. Kay maybe your data is kuan decimal data. So this na siya pwede sa switch statement. Okay? So imo gyud siyang i-check before you will use switch statement when you match the data or the object's data. If your data or the return data is either in the switch nga allowed nga switch conditions. Okay? Or dili. Okay? Kung dili siya kuan allowed, and you will not use switch statement. So you will instead apply condition statements for your pattern matching. Okay? Okay ta? Okay. So next is another feature we can use in C# is using the extension methods. Okay? So how can we use extension methods? So for example, here we will create another model. Okay? So for example, I will create another class. Pangalan na nako og shopping cart. So in order to us to use extension methods, okay, in C#, so it is one of the convenient way for adding methods to classes is using extension methods. Okay, so typically, Microsoft doesn't provide an extension, okay, because they have their own third package nga extensions added, okay. But if you want to have your own extensions, example sa imong models, okay, pwede ka maka-create og kaugalingon imong extension methods, okay. So for example, there is a atong shopping cart, we can implement an extension methods here. So for example, public I enumerable, Okay. So this here, this particular shopping cart class, so it acts as a wrapper. Okay? So mura siya og kuan. Kung sa kindi pa ato ang model nga product is wrapped with a casing, di ba? Kung sa kuan pa nato. So sa kindi pa nato, kindi si ang candy sulod sa candy na to, di ba? Na ama na siya wrapper. Una pa nato makuha ang nasa sulod sa candy na siya wrapper. Okay? So ang wrapper nato which is kini si shopping cart nag-serve na siya as protection. Okay? So note lang nato dere sa to ang example nato sa shopping cart here. So as you can see here sa to ang products. So it denotes a nullable enumerable of nullable products, meaning that the product's property may be null and can have any sequence of elements assigned to the property that may contain null values. Okay? So suppose we need to enable to determine the total value of product objects in the shopping cart class. Okay? So we cannot modify this. Okay? Because it comes from a third party, which is ang ato ang enumerable. Okay? So in order to us to get the particular um, the extension or the extension of this shopping cart, pwede ta mo apply og extension method nga ato pag yun siyang extend. Okay, para ma-access nato ang wrap data sa to ang shopping cart. Okay? So, we will create that here sa to models folder. So, mag-create ko og another class. Pangalan na nako siya og my extension methods. So here in this my extension methods, okay, for example, I will want to determine the prices that, for example, I select items, okay, to the shopping cart, and then I want to know how much the total cost or the total price for those items selected. So, arin ako ibutang sa ko ang extension methods nga class. Okay? So here, I will make it static sa to ang extension methods. Here, we will implement the method. For example, the total price. So public, static, decimal, total price. So in this total prices, so this shopping cart, so tawagan na to og okay. Then we have here decimal, total equals to 0. And then here we check if our cart param that products is that equals to null. And then we have our for each loop here that will compute the products price. Okay, the total and plus equals to the product that price 0. Okay, and then here we return total. Okay? So as you can see here in this example class na to nga my extension methods. So when we use my extension methods guys, mostly are static classes. Okay? Or not mostly. Okay? So static yun na siya kung mag-extend ta. Okay? Or magamit tag extension methods. Okay? So sa tong class, static na siya. Sa to pong method, static po na siya. Okay? So as you can see here in this my extension methods, so we have a single extension method na gipanganlan na total prices. Okay? So as you can see here, this keyword, 'di ba? Sir, unsa na siyang pasabot sa this keyword? What do you mean by this? So here, this keyword here, it means that it tells the .NET which class the extension method can be applied to the shopping cart parameter variable. So here, it means that this shopping cart is the shopping cart method we are using to the extension method. Okay? So, mogamit tag this keyword. Kaya kung wala na siyang this keyword, it means that who's that shopping cart in the first place? Kinsa man na siya. So, wa siya kaila. So, para ma-determine na to or para ma-apply na tong extension to the third party, which is sa tong shopping cart, ga-apply to siya third party implementation dito. So, we need to na mo target sa kana nga particular kung ano to, third party class, which is the shopping cart, is we need to use this keyword. Okay? So it can refer to the instance of the shopping cart that the extension method has been applied by using the cart parameter or variable. So this extension method enumerates the product objects in the shopping cart and returns the sum of the product that price property values. Okay? So, mo ni siya itong i-perform during dapita. So, okay, ato sang i-save. So, we will perform the change sa tong kuan kay na naman tay price, 'di ba? So mag-add na ta diri og price. Okay. So for example, to sa na siya comment lang. So for example in our home controller, okay? So shopping cart, sample cart equals to new shopping cart. So products equals to that get products. Okay, so decimal uh, cart total equals to cart that total prices. And then return view index string. Total. Okay. So for example here guys, mao ni siya tong kuan na to. Okay, sample. So here in this example, so we create a new object sa to ang home controller which calculate the total prices sa to ang data or sa tong our products model. Okay? So kung ato ni siyang i-perform for example here, ako sa ni siyang i-kuhan as football. Okay? So iyang compute pila ang total prices. Okay? Sa product na to nga nakabutang diri sa to ang sa tong model nga product. Okay? So for example here when we execute, so pila siya tanan, as you can see, you have the total of 2,048.95. Okay? So it means here the data is calculated, okay, by applying the shopping cart. Okay? So you make it here nga ato siyang giba compute, gi-calculate nato gikan sa tong get products nga array or kini siya nga array nato. Okay? So iyang gi-plus tanan so 1,799 o 249.95 gikan sa to ang extension. Kini nga extension method nato. Okay? So here in this example, so it calculates all the data. Okay? All the products data nato. Nakuha? So sir ngano man sir nga kuan man decimal atong kuan diri. Oh, decimal siya kay ato ang data gikan sa to ang products are decimal man na siya. Okay, even though you don't have any decimal points there, still it will be read as a decimal number. So therefore, if you say decimal number, these are floating numbers. Dako ang precision. Okay? So larger precision na siya. So mostly the decimal are I remember 64-bit na siya or 128-bit nga decimal number. Okay? Nga floating point. Okay? Kaya double is 64 man. So 128 ang decimal. So mas larger siya kung gamit tawag decimal numbers. Okay? Nakuha? So next is in order to us to uh, compute sa to ang products. So or pwede sa nato siya ma-enumerate itong products. We can also apply an extension method to an interface. Okay? So instead of having lang atong gamiton ang extension methods, pwede pod nato ang atong extension methods is i-extend nato using an interface. Okay? So to do that here, so we will extend or we will implement the interface. For example here, sa to ang shopping cart. So in order to perform that here, so I will add lang. Okay, so using systems or system.collections. Okay, so here in order to implement that, for example, I will implement an enumerable. Of products. So when you implement interface. So you need to implement all the methods in that interface. Okay? So here in this interface enumerable, so we will implement the enumerator. Okay? So again, guys, when we use interface, there is a to shopping cart. So we need to implement all the enumerable methods and states. So here I call the get enumerator method and then implement the if the product is empty, then it will be enumerated. Okay? So I enumerable that get enumerator, okay, will get the numerator. Okay? Ma? Ba? Okay. Check sa ko guys ha, kung saan naka-error. Okay, wala na error. Get numerator. Okay, so nara. Okay. So na ba ko siyop? Okay, so that. Okay? So, mo na siya guys. Atong fix. Dili dapita. So again, when we use interface here, so in this example, nato sa atong shopping cart, so we call an extension method that implements the interface. Okay? So the enumerable interface. So dire po sa itong extension method, so we'll change that. Okay? So instead of using this keyword here, okay, or this kuha na to, so by calling enumerable of the product, Okay? And kini tawag ta na siya products. Listen ta na siyang variable. Na near. So for each product in products, okay? So tawagon na taning tagtangon na ko ni siyang if condition. So ano siya tong change. So unsa man tong gi-perform diri sir dapita kining atong example. So as you can see here, so we changed the parameter from shopping cart to a enumerable product. Okay, so which means that in our for each loop method body, so it directly call on the product objects. So instead of applying the objects in the shopping cart, so we directly call the products itself, the product objects. Dinhi sa tuang my extension methods. Okay? So here in this calculation, so the total value of the product objects enumerated by any enumerable product, which includes the instances of the shopping cart, but also the array of the products objects itself. Okay? So kato ganiha atong gi-improve by using enumerable. So instead of we check the validity of the data if the product price is null. So here we use the enumerable interface to determine the price is really a price or have a price value or a null value. Okay? So for that manner, so we will change also the controller. Okay? So we'll implement other things here sa to ang example lang. Okay, so we'll add the total cart. Okay, and then itong view total cart. Okay, so for example, mao ni siya tong change to the pita. Okay, so if we instantly execute this, so we have the same output yapon. Igawas ganiha nga iyang total is 2,048.95. Okay? Okay pa ta? Ha? Okay pa ta ha? Ha? Okay pa ta? Okay, next. So also guys, when we have our total price computed, we can also filter our extension methods. Okay? So pwede sa ta mag-filter sa tong price. Okay? Especially, 'di ba? Sa Shopee, 'di ba? Naman tayo makita dito nga, for example, ranges of the items sa to ang kuan Shopee. So, for example, mangita ka og 0 to 299 nga price. So, makaselect ka dito. Kini check ni nako. Then it will only view me those items nga na dito sa range of price. Okay? So, pwede na nato siya magamitan og filtering. Okay? So, to apply filtering, so we go again to our extension methods. Okay? So, we'll create another method here. For example, so public static. So, again, every kuan nga extension method, static yun na siya nga method. So, enumerable of product. Okay? So, tawag na to siya filter by price. So inside of this, so we have this that enumerable product. Okay, so we have our product enumeration, product enum, and then decimal, minimum price. Okay? And then here we use a for each loop. Okay? For this, filter by kung ano to. So for each, product, okay, in a product enumeration, then for example, we will have a condition if so product the price, okay, will be 0 and greater than equals to minimum price, okay, and then we have our yield return product. Okay? So sa may gihimo na to aning kining extension na to. Extension method nga filter by price. Okay? So this extension method, it takes an additional parameter that allows us to filter products so that the product objects whose price properly matches or exceeding the parameter that are returned in the result. Okay? So in this case here, we use filter by price to filter our data. Okay? So for example, mag-add lang ta og filtering sa tong data. So in this case here, um, for instance lang, mag-add ko another data sa kong model. So tawag ko na to og um, lang, product, ano to, ping pong ball. Ping ball na lang. Equals to new product, name ping ball, dot name ping pong ball. And then ping ball dot price. So we say nga na to yung price kay 50. Okay? So kung ato siyang i-add, di ba, total price nato dere will be 2048, di ba? Ato i-add siya sa tong array element. So ping ball. So, di ba, 2048 pa to. So, kata to ang ping ball. So, sa tong output dire will become 2098. Okay? So, what if we add a filtering sa to ang data? Okay? So, to use a filtering, so for example, we'll filter the price. So, by adding another extension method, so that filter that filter by price. For example, filter price na to is 50. Okay? That total price, okay, na to. So what happened kung ato siyang gi-filter by 50? So if we execute this, so nigawas pa ang 98, di ba? Kay sulod pa man si 50 dito sa ato ang filter by price dire sa extension method, di ba? So greater than equals man to the minimum price. So what if atong minimum price increase na to instead of 50 mo na tong 100. So what will happen? Ma-add to ang 50 na to nga ping ball? Yes or no? Ma-add to siya? Kaya minimum naman tag 100. So as you can see here, wala siya ma-include sa total. Because the filter by price here we do is if uh, if the data is greater katong mong price 100 upwards, so therefore it will compute the total price. So if your price is less than 100, then it will not be included sa atong calculation. Okay? So, nakuha? Hello? Nakuha ra ba? Ha? Nakuha ra? Okay. So, next is we will do another feature sa to ang C# programming. So, by defining functions. Okay? So, we'll define a function here lang. For example, di ba, na naman tayo filter by price. So, nasa dyan tayo another method na mo filter po sa product. Di ba? Or the name of the product. So, pwede ba na namo, sir, nga ma-filter na mong product? So, pwede. So, we will create here an extension method. So, public, static, enumerable. So, tawagon na nako siya filter. So, inside this filter, so you have this. Okay? Biyahan ni nako siyang enumerable. Ano product. Then, having a function. For each product. Okay? So, unsa man po natong i-perform diri sa kining function, kining filter function na to. Okay? So, as you can see here in this filter function or filter method na to, so as you can see here in our second parameter, okay, kini siya, kining function product bool selector nato. So it returns, or this is a function that accepts a product object and returns a bool value. Okay? So the filter method calls the function of each product object and includes it in the result if the function returns true. Okay? So, for example, if we use that here sa to ang project, okay? So, we can, example lang. So, mag-add ko diri og bool filter by price, product. Okay? So for example, nag-add ko diri og filter by price nga bool. So here we return that if our product is greater than or equals to 100. So therefore here we exclude again the ping ball. Kaya ang ping ball na to is 50 raman to ang price. Di ba? Okay? And then here we will add a function, okay, to this example na to. So function, okay, product, okay, and also with the bool value. So tago lang ko ni siya name filter. So will be equals to delegate on product. So we return here add that name of 0. Okay? So for example, we have this implementation. So as you can see here, we have our name filter. So gikuha na to nga na ay letter S. Okay? So if we execute this, so the total price here, okay, is 2,048.95. Okay? But we have a return here sa total na to nga system function. Okay, we have sayop ni. Magsayop. Okay, so wait for a while. I check first sakto ba kung kuan. Name filter total. Okay, so sayop akong itawag ang name filter total na siya. Okay? So as you can see guys, dire, 0 ato ang name total. Okay? So nganong ni 0 man sa to name total, sir? So kung tanaw na to sa to ang product list, wala tay anything nga letter S. Diba? Kaya tong filter ba dire gibutang sa to ang controller nga with letter S. So kung naay capital S na data, name, character name dito, so it will return the total of that particular product. Okay? So that's the mean of filter dire sa atong example project. So kung may kog K dire, small k, so what will happen, sir? Kinsa may ma-calculate nato dito sa name total nato? Dapat tay ma-calculate nga K naa kanay letter K. Naa ba? So as you can see diri, zero man gyapon ang return. So itong i-execute ha. Execute ani. Okay. So change na to. So wala pa makuan, nagkuan pa siya, nag-build. Okay, red. Okay na siya. So as you can see guys, zero gyapon siya. Kay ang atong gi-filter nga name wa man gihapon. Okay? So K ra ba ya atong gibutang dere? Product name K. So wala ta. K ra wa may K dire sa tong kuan, di K din na. Nga name. Naay K nga kuan, but ang name niya kay kayak dili K. So kung atong kompleto, ikayak ta na siya. Di sana pwede kay string man na siya. Okay? So di sa ta pwede kakuha na ni kay atong representation pod sa extension method. Okay, dire kay kuan man. Okay? Product. Natong kuan diri is not a string man. Kuan man siya, character man siya. Okay? So mo na siya kuan na to, distinction. So kana. Or S na lang ato S. Ang sum. Okay? So kung capital K na siya, so what will happen? So natay nigawas. Ngano man. So sa filter na to, since dire sa tong product is zero man, di ba? So it means here that the first character sa to ang filter, so ato gi-check kung unsa nga letter. Okay? So kung small k, dili na to makita ang kayak. Kay capital K baya ni dire naka-define. Pero kung gi-change na to capital K, it is now filter. So na siya nakitaan nga kayak nga K, capital K object. Okay? So kung mayroon po kog L dire, capital L, so makita po na to kay ang left jacket na price. Nakuha. So nakuha ra ba guys? Ni siya. So dire guys, when we perform this, ingon ani nga perform nato, this is not ideal nga approach kini nga mag-apply tag ingon ani nga approach or this approach sa to ang filter by price o sa to ang filter by name or filter by character. So dili ni siya ideal nga inani atong implement. Okay? Even though okay ra siya, but this is not ideal. Okay? Because it creates a cluster. Okay? Mag-create mo siya cluster sa to ang data. So, okay ra ni siya kay usa ra man ka buok. Okay? But what if kung daghan na kay tag filter mechanism or filter by price applied sa to ang um, sa tong program. So, dili ni siya pwede nga maggamit ta og clustering nga magingon ani ta sa to ang program. Okay? So ato na siya comment. We'll change this implementation. So instead of applying like this, okay? So we will use this type of implementation. So here we will filter by price. Okay. So filter. So instead of that implementation, so we can use like this. Okay. So P, and ato ang checking. So P price will be 0 or not kind of name filter na, no? So P dot name will be P of name of 0. Okay, will be equals to sample K. Okay, question mark. Name of 0 equals to okay. So nani guys, ang atong implement. So instead of using clustering, ngay naniyo na to atong product. Okay, so we delegate our filter data. So we will implement like this na expression. So kini siya nga expressions guys, nag-i-apply na to ani. This is what we call a lambda expression. Okay? So instead of like this nga implementation, we use a lambda expression. Okay? So the parameters here are expressed without specifying a type, which will be interfered automatically. So this here, kini siyang arrow. So this arrow characters, okay, it means that it will goes to and link the parameter to the result of the lambda expression. Okay. So as you can see here in this case, so our P, product P here is a lambda shortcut for product object, which goes to this particular check filter if the product of the object product name is equals, or the product object name of the first character of that object name is letter K. So if we execute this, so it will execute the 1000 because the here we use capital K as our character check if it is really an object na ay letter capital K nga exist sa first character. Okay? Questions? Hello? Questions? Huh? Any questions so far? So if no questions, then those are the features, some features na to sa C#. Okay? So just read lang sa to ang kuan niya sa uban, napadiring ang uban kay ang kini uban mag-apply raman sad nato ni siya. Like the asynchronous methods, okay? Ma-apply raman ni nato sa next activity. Using asynchronous enumerables, okay? Then how we get names, so we already done that, getting names. So naraman po din sa to ang example. So we get names by using the object, okay? The object name. So here. So that's how we do program sa tong C sharp. So some features of it. So easy ra no? Very easy. Okay, so if no questions, okay, so this recording will be passed later sa to ang LMS. So para naamoy balikon ba tan-awon, no? May na lang. Naamoy tan-aw. Okay? So thank you so much guys for listening.